What is going on Twitch chat and also the Discord stage channel? Welcome to your Strats Weekly for the week of 9 April 2022. As always, I'm your host, Auth. Thanks for being with us here this evening. Hope everybody had a pretty good week. Taco dies. What's going on? Saw Mazix for a half a second there, but I think he jumped back down. How y'all doing tonight?
Doing good.
Love to hear it. Taco, you good? I know you're watching 2 streams at once.
I don't have the strats shit.
What up, Sinish? Oh man, I don't know where Braden's at. He got me all the graphics at least. I'm not sure where Braden's at. Hopefully he'll turn up later.
Supposed to start? I didn't weigh myself.
See Vecino and Ninjaneer out there in the Twitch chat. What's up, guys? Hope y'all are doing good. Strats Weekly, brought to you by Bawls. Oh man, Vecino, we gotta get some more. We gotta see if they want to keep sponsoring. We got one more week of sponsorship left after this.
I do it by week.
Well, I only drink them on stream,
Oh,
and I only got one left after this. So yeah, like it's by week. We're gonna see if they want to keep
Get some
sponsoring
more
or not.
cases in.
Right? For those who don't know, Bawls is one of the OG energy drinks, and they have been supporting all sorts of wonderful gaming activities for decades, literally decades. I first encountered them back in, this would have been 03, thereabouts, sponsoring a very small land that I used to go to up in the middle of nowhere, Oklahoma, when I was stationed at Fort Sill. It's delicious. Not quite as much caffeine as you might get in a Monster or some of the other ones out there, but you know, maybe that's not such a bad thing, because honestly, do you need to hit like your like recommended caffeine intake after 1.5 cans? I don't know if that's necessarily what you want to do. But also these taste amazing. I mean, they've expanded the flavor pool obviously since the beginning, but there's something about the OG that's just it's tasty. You love to see it. Oh, there's Braden. What up, Braden? Oh man, so yeah, welcome to Strats Weekly, where we talk about all the stuff that's going on in Strats. Yeah, what we're playing, what we're doing, things of that nature. Probably jump right into her tonight. All right, I've messed with the scenes. We'll see if they work correctly still or not. 3, 2, 1, go. Seems it. First up, as always, ESO. For those who don't know, ESO is an MMO that is buy to play. That is, you pay for it once and then you don't have to maintain any sort of subscription fee to keep playing. Set in the Elder Scrolls universe, either shortly before or directly after the events of Oblivion. I always forget which side of it it takes place on. I think it's before Oblivion, after Morrowind. But it is a highly personalizable, customizable. You can play how you want, is what I'm driving at. There's a heap of customization options in terms of the mechanics that your character can partake in. Allows for all kinds of very interesting builds, and this year in particular, they seem to be interested in buffing up some of the weaker things so that even more things are viable. There's a ton of content coming out this year that I know everybody's been very excited about. We are currently, as I understand it, Ascending Tide came out a couple weeks ago. That is the most recent content that dropped, and there's more coming. Our fearless leader dies a lot. Here to talk to us a little bit about how things are going out there. How are you, Dies?
Not too bad. Things are going pretty good. Yeah, the new expansion launches June 6th, if I remember right. So it'd be a whole bunch of new stuff then. We've already got a couple new dungeons out for it, so
nice. How much?
Lots of new stuff to do.
How much content usually drops with an expansion? Like, I mean, what compared, because I know they trickle out content, throughout the year, but like how much of a like massive content drop does an expansion represent really for ESO?
There'd be fair amount. There's a whole storyline over the year. There'll be little bits. Well, so part of it already came out here. What was it, a month ago? Next big one is June 6th. Then there'll be another one again. About a month or two after that. But every 2 months they drop little bits and pieces. September and November will be the next big ones after that, if they follow what they did last year.
Nice. Yeah, it's nice to see that kind of trickle of content coming out. We're seeing stuff like that in Lost Ark, which is the MMO I'm currently playing. It's nice to see that content continuing to come out. You don't get a ton of content and then have like a dry spell for several months at a time where you're just sitting there playing through the exact same stuff over and over again. I like when games stagger that release. I know there's people who push through it faster than others, but I'm definitely not always the fastest through things anymore. So it's nice to have a chance to digest it at my own pace and then handle the new stuff when it comes out.
Yeah, like there's always like 3 or 4 dungeons come out over the year. There'll probably be a couple more trials yet to come out over the year. Tons of story content, new zones. ESO, there's so much to do all the time. It's hard to pinpoint any one way to play the game. It's dozens of different ways you can play the game.
That's super awesome. I mean, it's really nice when there's not just vertical content to consume, but when you've got all that additional horizontal content, like the very in-depth player housing system and stuff like that. It attracts all sorts, I guess. You love to see
and this year it seems like they're changing things around a bit too, with all the gear and stuff, that it's making some of the more hybrid builds hybrid builds are coming back into the fold a little bit better.
Nice. So rather than having to be extremely hyper focused in a very specific lane to be meta viable, now they're broadening out the number of things that are viable. That's always the way I prefer balance to happen. It's if a few things are performing really well and a bunch of stuff is performing not as well, the easier solution is always to nerf bat the handful of things that are overperforming compared to the others. But I think the better long-term solution is always to try and bring other things up and buff rather than nerf.
Yeah. Oh, it's always better that way.
Like the end result is always the same. You get, a larger number of viable builds. Because if you nerf, let's say 5 builds are overperforming the others. So if you nerf those 5 builds, then cool, those 5 builds become on the same power ranking, so to speak, as several other builds that were below them, thus increasing the number of things that are, quote, viable. But you disenfranchise the people who are playing those 5 builds because they feel like they've gotten significantly weaker. And that's never a good feeling. Whereas you can just alternatively bring other weaker builds up in power, and you don't disenfranchise the people who are playing the builds that were already performing well. Instead, you have increased the number of viable builds, and you've actually, made people who were playing some of those off meta builds that for them were very fun to play. That's why they're playing them, even though they're not, the super meta thing. You end up with a more positive impact on your player base when you do that kind of balancing. And I'm really happy that ESO does that a lot. They seem to be very, very important.
Yeah, well, it's always more fun to play a game when you're having fun playing your character than fighting to get something that is impossible to get.
Really,
it's a real fun. I never tried it because it's really only ever used a couple times by like speedrunning guilds. But there was a real fun like dual wield tank build, but it was like just strictly off tanking. Like one of the best guilds in the world for D. When they were speed running, what was it? Fucking AA hard mode or whatever. They were using that, and it was cool. I mean, I wish they would add more. Maybe like a ranged weapon for tanking. Like, I mean, you use like destruction staff as tank, but like a tank weapon specifically that's ranged.
Yeah, I don't think they have come up with anything like that I've heard of yet. But
It'd be sweet, like a bow, but it's like a tank bow.
Some of the changes this year has made it so that you're mixing and matching the gear weight a little more than what you used to.
Oh, yeah.
You're not necessarily going with monster sets anymore. Actually, there's they're throwing in some of their their other sets to make up different give you different benefits now than just going with a straight monster set all the time.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh yeah, like I've noticed the last month or two the hybrid builds are coming out big time.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, it's great when there's like it's never fun when there's only one thing. When you're like, let's say you're queuing up or you're looking for a group and you're looking for a tank, and you only ever get the same kind of tank because it's the only thing that's considered by the community to be viable enough to handle the content. Like it's just more enjoyable when there's a variety of ways for things to be played, because the build changes don't always exclusively impact the players that are playing the build. It can also impact like the party dynamic. You get different like advantages and disadvantages when you start mixing in different builds, because not every DPS build or support build is going to gel the same with every tank build, for example. So those little dynamics and the way it will impact how things happen, whether it's like, I mean, I don't play ESO, so it's hard for me to speak in terms of that, but for example, in other games I've played, the difference between being behind in like an armor tank versus a dodge tank, the battles, like boss fights especially, would play out differently because dodge tanks would have to tank differently, just mechanically. Like they were totally viable, but they had to do things differently, and sometimes that meant different facings with the boss, or having to step out of things and move the boss around from mechanics that maybe an armor tank wouldn't necessarily have to. So just those added dynamics that build variety brings to encounters that you're going to do over and over and over again. Those are things I really enjoy, and I'm glad that ESO is really embracing that with their balancing this year, for sure. Like, even though I'm not playing it, I'm not one that's going to personally benefit from any of those changes. Like, I think it's just a very healthy thing for the game, and I'm happy for the games community that that's what's happening right now.
Yeah, like a year ago, there was only really 2 or 3 viable tanks in the game, or viable tank classes in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, well, actually, we've got one in the guild that's a warden tank that is outperforming some of the meta builds for a year ago.
Huh. You love to see it. That's super cool. For those who don't know, the ESO guild here at Stratsco is quite beefy. We've got over 600 people on the Discord. How are we doing in-game, actually? I know we usually hover around like the low mid 400s.
In game, we're suffering a little bit right now. I'm trying to get it rebuilt again. We're at 237 right now.
Only 237 players. Goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, the upside is that means we have lots of headroom, given that the guild max is 500. But that's it's almost kind of nice. It's refreshing when you get to do that bit of a rebuild sometimes. You get the fresh blood in, because you've got. I mean, what ends up happening? It's like any other game, that's been out for a very long time. People's interest ebbs and flows. So you have times where you've got more people than you have room for, and you've got other times where you're on a bit of a downturn and you've got plenty of room and you're not sure how to fill all those spots out. So it's one of those things. Our population in that game always seems to ebb and flow. We usually hover in the low to mid 400s. We're a bit lower right now, and I'm sure we'll be stacked back up here in a few weeks as more content comes out. And I mean, I've seen a handful of new ESO peeps roll through the Discord just in the last couple of days.
Oh yeah, we've picked up another 40 this just the last 3 or 4 days. So
goodness, you guys don't mess around when you recruit.
Yeah, well, that's a full-time job for me. So
oh man.
But, yeah, no, we're suffering a little bit right now with guild events and stuff like that. A lot of the people that were doing it found other things to do or have left the game for some reason or another, and we're just trying to rebuild and get people interested in doing all guild events again.
Nice. Yeah, to that end, for those who don't know, they are definitely ESO. We're definitely looking for people who are interested in helping lead and manage not just the guild, but if that's not necessarily your shtick, but there are certain types of content that you really enjoy running, be that trials or dungeons or whatever the case may be. We're looking for people who are interested in helping run some events so that we can continue to restock our guild's event calendar. I mean, this, not to say there aren't a bunch of events scheduled already. There's a handful down here still scheduled, but it takes bodies and time to run those events, and it helps when we can kind of spread that responsibility around a little bit. So if you happen to be interested either in a leadership position in an ESO guild, or if you're not necessarily interested in that, but you are looking to, there's a type of content that you really know well and you enjoy running, and you would be open to the idea of helping manage an event for our guild related to that content, by all means, please touch base with Dies a lot. He would love some additional assistance. Him and Tubeway are holding it down, but we'd love to help relieve some of that burden and spread that around a wee bit.
Yeah, for sure. It doesn't matter whether it's running dungeons, whether it's running farming days, fishing days, whatever. If there's something you're interested in running, let me know. We'll get things set up for you.
Yeah, and people will turn out for any sort of event. If there's a thing that you do, like even if it's just like he was talking about gathering, there are other people who need to gather, and it's surprising how easy it is to talk other people into just coming and hanging out in a voice channel and gathering together. Just to have some company, because some of that stuff can be a bit of a monotonous grind for sure, and it really helps. It helps to stave off the mundaneness of it all.
Gathering is never a monotonous grind.
I mean, it's not when the sound effects are awesome. Rip New World. God.
No, it's always more fun when you do it with somebody else. So
true. Wholeheartedly.
You know what game has great gathering?
Don't say it.
Not Albion.
Not Albion. There's a lot of other games, but definitely not Albion. Oh yeah. So yeah, If you are interested in joining us, by the way, in ESO, by all means, grab the TESO role from Rules and Roles. Head on down to the Skumadin. We've got some additional information about the guild rules and such in TESO information. But just hit the Skumadin up. Tell folks you're looking for an invite. If one of the officers isn't around, most of the people in the guild have invite permissions, and first person that sees you will catch you and bring you in. I would strongly encourage, if ESO is the thing you're doing, even if you've already got a guild, you can have 5 in ESO. You can be in 5 different guilds. We're a pretty cool bunch to hang out with. Come hang out with us. Give us a spin.
And everybody, once you've been in the guild for 3 days, everybody has permission to, in the guild has permission to invite.
We've also got a few other perks. I won't go into all the details, but you can find that information down in TESO info about some of the services we offer, like gear crafting and stuff like that. But guys, we appreciate everything you're doing out there for us out in Tamriel.
Yeah, no problem. You gotta get her built up here.
Oh, we'll be back. We'll be back to near 500 again. I have no doubt of that. Next game.
And if you have any questions, I'm always in Discord and our tavern down there in ESO. So jump in and always ask all the questions you need to know. Or
that's true.
Always looking for new people.
Very helpful bunch down there. Yeah, all sorts. They don't care if you're just playing for the first time or if you've been playing since the game came out. We take all sorts. All right, guys. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Next game we got to talk about. Let's talk a little bit about EVE Online. For those who don't know, EVE Online, you play a capsuleer, which is basically somebody who can be cloned and neurologically link into their ship. That's the whole shtick. ESO is a massive open server. The server is only one. They're unlike something like ESO where you have a single or you have multiple servers, like we're on PCNA, for example. But they have an EU server and stuff like that. EVE is one massive server with everybody playing, and because of that, despite the game coming out in the early aughts, the number of players that can get involved in some of this content is incredible. You can do just about whatever you want in EVE. EVE has a surprising amount of options besides just combat. Economic type stuff you can do, whether that is just flipping stuff on the market, where you want to go out and actually gather resources, or you want to build things and then sell those things. There's a lot of different ways to play EVE Online, which is why a number of our players have multiple accounts, because they play all different ways. And you've only got so many skill points to spread around, so sometimes you need more characters and you want to play those characters at the same time. So you spin up multiple accounts and play them all at the same time, because EVE's crazy like that. We have a nice booming group going down in EVE. Oh yeah, they're up to some stuff. Over 340, well, exactly 340 people in the Discord with the Pretenders role. Strats Co., the corporation, we are part of an alliance with Voidhounds and Helix Corporation, Pretenders Alliance. We have a whole lot of supporting stuff in here. If you were to come in here looking for some information about EVE, you might, I believe you'll only see the EVE info and the Internet Spaceships channel. I think all of our other channels, including the voice channels, will not be visible for OPSEC reasons. Loose lips sink ships. The Transco Corp, we live and operate in wormhole space, not exclusively, but we do control a wormhole, which I'm not allowed to talk about. We do have structures in said wormhole, which I'm not allowed to talk about. But we do a lot of stuff besides that. We do high sec, low sec, null sec, wormhole space, PvE, PvP, you name it, we're doing it. We also schedule a bunch of events for EVE. There are multiple events scheduled, multiple fleets, and doing different things that are happening at some times and days that I'm also not allowed to talk about. A lot of secrecy, a lot of things I can't talk about in there. But if you know, you know. Eve is one of those games that seems to have an infinite learning curve. I don't think anybody, even our savants at this game like Vorthos, I don't think anybody knows everything there is to know about how to do everything in Eve, because there's just so many different things to be done. Like I said, we're doing a whole bunch of stuff, and we're recruiting all sorts. New players who've never played before, returning veterans who took a break and are coming back, or people who've been playing literally since the day the game came out. We don't care. We take all sorts. To that end, we are also actively recruiting still for the OCE SEA time zone. If you happen to be out there in that Australian region, that set of time zones and such, we have players literally playing around the clock, but we are a bit thinner in OCE SEA than some of the other time zones, and we're looking to shore that up, whether you are a player looking for a corp or perhaps an OCE SEA corp that's looking for an alliance to do some extra shenanigans and do some stuff out in wormhole space and such. We are definitely actively recruiting for that. So yeah, that's pretty much all that's going on with Eve. I can't, like I said, there's not a lot of stuff I'm allowed to talk about. If you are interested in some more information, the Eve info channel has some of the basic information about what we're doing, as well as information on how to authenticate for the Discord server, should you be accepted, as well as how to get in touch with our folks in game. If you are on the Discord and you're looking to talk to some people, Vorthos is a good person to talk to. Wex is not part of Strats, but he is a good person to talk to. He's part of the Alliance. Other members you could talk to, Hisiri and Vicino, if you can pull them away from Lost Ark, would be able to help you out, as well as Mazix. Those are probably the big names you'd want to reach out to in terms of getting vetted to make sure you're not a spy. We don't like spy crabs. Even though Wex is the crab master, he doesn't like spies. Yeah, that's pretty much the scoop with Eve. Not a whole ton to talk about. Eve is one of those games that continues to truck along. They do events, in-game events, I should say. Like Eve, the game, does do content drops and in-game events. I know they did a Doctor Who collaboration a couple months ago, which is pretty interesting. They do a whole bunch of other stuff, but I'm not wholly appraised on everything that's going on in Eve. I just know that somehow a game that old is still ticking. People are having a blast with it. So if you're interested in joining Stratsco in New Eden, either as a returning player or a new player, or you're just looking for a new corporation, like I said, Internet Spaceships, Vorthos, Vicino, Mazix, Siri, Wex, all good people to reach out to in terms of speaking with a recruiter and getting the lowdown on what's going on there. Yeah, that's pretty much Eve Online. Boom, bam. And the last game we got to talk about this evening, last but definitely not least, Lost Ark. For those not in the know, Lost Ark is an MMO that plays kind of how you would imagine a Diablo-style ARPG would play. It's mouse movement, it's top-down isometric view with a fixed camera. The skill customization even reminds me quite a bit of Diablo 3 in particular, where you can adjust a skill tree for any given skill, kind of like how you could put runes onto your skills in Diablo 3 to modify how they behave. You have a certain number of points that you can spend in Lost Ark to delineate, or you can delineate amongst your skills in order to determine how your different abilities work. But it is, despite how it looks and feels to some people who strongly compare it to an ARPG, it truly is an MMO. There is a pretty surprisingly large housing system. Saivo's been doing some contests in terms of housing decoration. The second one just came out, I think yesterday or today, I forget which. He did a big housing competition. If you want to see the depth and complexity that some people have been able to achieve with Lost Ark's housing system, I encourage you to check that out. There are currently 15, I think, playable subclasses in NAEU. We have had it confirmed we are getting The not Lance Master. It's not a Lance Master anymore. It's a Glavier?
Spear guy.
The Spear Lady.
Spear person.
The only martial artist with a big pokey weapon. I know a lot of people were super hyped on that. The original leak for the roadmap told us we were going to get Destroyer first, and a bunch of people were very excited about that. And somehow they managed to create even more excitement, because as much as people were excited about having the hammer, there were even more people, I think, hyped about Glavier, the Lance Master, Spear character coming around. Just because I think it looks like a really fun class to play for a lot of folks. Risa over there in Twitch wants the Arcana. If they stick with the leak, then Arcana should follow Destroyer, which means that we're going to probably get the Glavier either next week or the week after. Hopefully next week, but we'll see. Then we'll get Destroyer in May. So if they keep what they had said, and it looks like they're going to roll out a class a month for us over here in NAEU, then maybe we get Arcana in June. Righteous is holding out for the artist. Also some chat in the Twitch about Reaper. No word on either artist or Reaper. I don't imagine we're going to get artists anytime soon, unfortunately. I think there's a lot of other classes that they will want to bring out in the West prior to artist. Since artist is, they're calling it a specialist, so it's not really a full-blown support, but it's kind of supporty. I think they're going to
support.
No, it's a
Specialist is
full-blown
just
support.
a class.
Oh, it's a specialist, the class?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
For
okay.
the
So it's a
Aeromancer and
oh, so that's what they're calling that class.
Yeah.
Gunner, not a gunner. It's a specialist, or not a mage. It's a specialist.
Well, yeah, it's not a gunner. It's wearing a paintbrush.
You don't know. What if it drew a gun? Could it not be a gunner if it drew a gun, Sinish?
I mean, don't know. I don't know. You got me. You got me.
I mean, I think it'll be. I think it's going to be a while before they give us an additional support. I think there's so many
They would
non-supports
probably-
yet to come out.
I don't know. It feels like
but
they
there's
need
so
more
many
support.
non-supports right now.
Well, I mean I just mean in terms of like class diversity. Like, I mean, people who want to play supports will play supports, and people who don't want to play supports won't play supports. And there's a lot of people not playing supports right now in NAEU. You're right.
So maybe they need to give Painter because there's people that aren't playing supports because they're waiting for Painter.
That's interesting. Although, if they give us Painter, then we're just all gonna want Aeromancer. I'm actually really hyped for Aeromancer. That's like.
I think Korea needs to get Aeromancer first before we can think about getting.
No. Let's just drop it in NAEU first. Why can't we be first?
August or something.
I think Aeromancer is one of the handful of classes that I'm really hyped on. Also looking forward to Scouter whenever they drop Scouter for us.
Yeah, I'm super hyped for. I'm really hyped for Aeromancer, considering we know nothing about it.
I took one look at it and it was just like, oh, this reminds me of Janna from League of Legends, and I really enjoy playing Janna. So yeah, I'm ready to play that. And I didn't have the only mage-ish class I was kind of interested in was Arcanist. I mean, like, obviously Bard, because I usually do play some sort of support, but I've got a Paladin at this point. So I'm not in a huge hurry to roll a Bard. And if Arcanist comes out relatively soon, playing female Gambit looks pretty fun. So I'll probably give that a try as my mage class for the time being. I really would like to play Scouter though. That's the one I've been most hyped about. Unfortunately, was not part of our release bundle. Want to transform into an Eva or a Gundam. Go crazy with the big laser sword things.
Do you
Have
really
a little
want the
drone
psychological? Do you really want the psychological trauma of piloting in an Eva?
I didn't say I wanted the psychological trauma of it, but
They go hand in hand, but
yeah, but also it looks fun.
You just deal with it,
Just hashtag just deal with it. See, the reason there was psychological.
Anti-Shinji.
Well, see, the reason there was psychological trauma is because they were all kids, right? So, like, I'm not a kid, so I'll be fine, right? That's how it works.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how it works at all. Vecino in the Twitch was talking about he's playing Warriors only, so he needs Destroyer to come out. Although I don't think Vecino, have you made a Paladin yet? If we need supports, Vecino, you gotta make a Paladin. It's a Warrior. It counts. Pitter patter. Oh man. But yeah. They did extend our event for another week, didn't they?
Yeah.
All the shops and stuff. I have not been upset about the sheer quantity of honing mats they've thrown at us in this event. I hope this is indicative of what things will be like moving forward.
It's good, but it could be more.
I mean, it could be more, but if it was any more, I gotta imagine it would cut into the profits. Because they're relying on whales, right? It's a free to play, so they're kind of relying on the whales for the bulk of the income at this point. Like, sure, people are buying, like a bunch of people bought some sort of launch pack, but in terms of the longevity of the game, there's not some sort of incentivization to spend money on the game as a service outside of skins.
I was trying to think, did we pay to win by getting the founders packs?
I mean, it depends on how you define the pay to win. That's one of those discussions that I've found really interesting with people who are convinced that Lost Ark was truly pay to win. And like, if by pay to win you mean people can do higher end PvE content faster than you, then like, sure, they won the race to that content, I guess.
Yeah.
But like,
the thing is, like, the whole pay to win argument is like, people have different beliefs on winning. Some people that get to fucking 1490 in 2 days, that's their thing. That's why they play games,
Mm.
I think the most concerning thing is that Taco thinks buying the Platinum Pack was a pay to win, but he put it on the West Coast server and then he made his main on East.
Yep. My main now is on EU West.
What? Oh, okay. You went even further.
Yep.
Why don't you just
the
make
East
it
Coast
My
wasn't
alt
far enough
characters
away
are
from
now
us.
my alt characters are now in South America. So.
You should consider changing everything over to the RU servers. I mean, they have more content already.
I'm gonna go to the Japanese servers.
And that's the other thing too. The people who are the very small but very vocal amount of the population for Lost Ark that are freaking out about the content, or like, there's like all this content that we don't have and the content needs to come out faster, and it's just like, bro, you've not done all the horizontal content. Why are you freaking out about the vertical content? Like, go do some of the other stuff that's there to do. There's plenty to do. There's a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
There's skill points locked behind some of that content. You're gonna need those skill points to complete the higher vertical content. So go get your skill points, No.
Yeah. And there's some content I just haven't done because it doesn't interest me.
Yeah, that's
Like,
fair.
But that's how,
Chandra?
Oh no,
sailing.
talk about something to say about my peaches? Say it now.
Just saying that I've probably never been to that island.
Well, when I have the
I went
cool
there
cloud mount
once.
for my Aeromancer when it comes out, and you don't.
You don't have it yet?
No, because I'm not grinding it as hard as like the people who have it are grinding it.
Really? Like, you would come on and the only thing you'd ever do is say Jangra, and then
I do it like once a day, maybe twice if I'm feeling ganky for it. But like, there are people who have been going since like the game launched every day, every time it spawns, like 3, 4, 5 times a day. I only had maybe like 2 days that I went 3 times. Most days I only go once, maybe twice if I just don't have anything else to do at that point. I'm typically just going once a day at this point though. When you only go once a day, I get maybe 150 to 200 due. So let's say I had just like an amazing run every time and I got 200 due every time. It would still take what? 200 math is hard. Take like 35 days at 200 a day. It's not a fast grind by any stretch. So the people who have already gotten the mount are the people that went starting from day one, which I definitely did not do, and went super, super, super hard. Like just kept going back for it. And like if that's what they wanted to do, then more power to them. There's other stuff that distracted me. Yeah. Lost Ark. We're doing stuff in Lost Ark. If you are interested in joining us in Lost Ark, we are playing on both coasts. We have NA East and NA West. We have people at all tiers doing content. For example, I see East has an Argos group going right now, trying to do Phase 3. If you're interested, when you grab from Rules and Rolls the Lost Ark role, you'll be able to come down here to Lost Ark Info and choose East or West if you'd like to, which will show you either the East or the West set of channels. But you'll have access to the Looking for Guild channel. You can come in here, let us know which coast you're trying to play on. In the East, we're on Avesta. In the West, we're on Valtan. And for the West players, we do have an OCE, SEA specific group that's playing. You'll be able to, like I said, hop in there, let us know you're looking for a guild, and we'll get you invited. So we have 5 in-game guilds on both coasts, but we are very much in the process of consolidating down into just a couple on each coast. So in NA East, we are basically at this point consolidating into Strats Co on the East Coast as well as Strats Co Shields. And then Strats Swords is taking in the bulk of the new players that are coming in as we're working to finish converting Lance, Zyphos, and Blades into predominantly alt guilds for people to put their alts in. Similarly on West, everybody's going either into Strats Co or into Strats Co Earth. Or I'm sorry, not Strats Co Earth. Strats Fire. Strats Co Earth and Heart and Wind are all in the process of converting into alt guilds. And then Strats Water is our OCE SEA time zone guild, so they will obviously maintain as is so that they have people playing during their time zone, because apparently AGS just don't have the infrastructure to handle oceanic servers apparently.
No, it's not possible.
I heard it was licensing related, but Valtan is very much the primary OCE SEA time zone server, so we are catering to that group as well. Like I said, you grab the role to set up Looking for Guild, and we'll get you slotted. Both guilds, like the guilds on each coast, have their own event channels. So when you have the East or the West role, you will not be bombarded with events that are happening on a different server. Similarly, you won't be bombarded with LFG posts and stuff like that for stuff happening on the server you're not playing on. You'll only I see everything here because I have to be able to see everything. And also, just for note, I saw some questions about it earlier. For those who missed it last week, we have locked all of the old guild channels now that we are really working towards consolidation. I've left them open because I know there's still some resources in there that folks might want to get out of there. These are going to be going away on Monday. Monday, I am getting rid of all of the guild channels. Now, I'll make sure to post that in Raiders of these so that folks don't get surprised by it. So, if there's anything in any of those guild channels that you posted or that you know was posted that didn't get mirrored onto either the wiki or is not in one of the main channels, the general channel for the coast or the Raiders of the channel, I would encourage you to go in there, save those resources, bookmark them, do what you got to do, because we are going to close these channels down. They serve no purpose at this point other than adding additional verticality for the mods. They were really only just to make sure we got everybody into the guild they were supposed to get into at launch, and at this point they've basically served their usefulness. We're gonna close them down because they're just not needed anymore. Yeah, that's what's going on there. Oh, good, and Braden's back, which means it's time to talk about Strats Biggest Loser. Ooh, I wonder if I set this set up right. I did. Hey, Braden, you want to talk to us about some Biggest Loser?
Yes. So first full week of Q2. It's been a hodgepodge of results is really the only way to put it. However, we did have someone with a massive first week. They are a newcomer, so that's, I'm sorry if I butcher your name, Bawls. Losing a huge 3.62%. That is a huge week.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I'd have to look back through Q1. I wish I had marked all the
individual. Let me look real quick. I got it.
That's like that is like top 2 or 3, if not the highest.
Mitt had a 3.68 last time, and Taco had a 3.19. Adidas had a 3.21. That's the second highest.
So second highest. Pretty damn close. So massive week to start. And it's especially awesome when it's the first week. So you're just way up there on the leaderboard.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, being the first week, there were some people that actually have since submitted their weight, but did not submit their weight before I did the graph. So there was a number of people who had 0. There's a couple people who have little red sad faces because they were in the negatives for the quarter. But I don't really think it's fair to hold that against them because both of them had really solid first quarters. And basically it just looks bad because they had one not great week.
I basically had a full cheat week.
Really not concerned there. We had a couple people holding even, but then the majority of the people, nice steady progress, which is good to see because this isn't quite the same as the start of the last quarter in that a lot of us have been at this for a quarter already. So there's not the same like, hey, this is a new thing, I'm gonna go gung-ho kind of vibe to it. It's just that slow steady loss. But I think generally some pretty big wins across the board. Yes, Kitty, we are tied. So I think it's going to be a fierce battle. I let ladies go first, so I put you above me in the rankings. You're welcome.
Dang.
Kitty's first.
Dude, didn't you say top 3 this quarter?
That's A. Hey, Auth, how many losers of the week did you get last quarter?
0.
So
and a frowny face this week.
So I mean, great when you're getting 2.53%, but let's see if you can keep that up through the entire quarter. If you can, hats off to you, but I still have lots of time to move on up that chart.
I got faith. I think you'll do it.
I think it's gonna happen. It might be tough. It'll be fine leading up to it, but I'm probably going to and working from Mexico for the month of May. So I can't tell if that will be like I'll go exploring a lot and lose weight, or I'll have tons of drinks and eat out and gain. So that might be a slight hitch in my plans. But overall, actually, surprisingly, I think thanks to the Bawls and Taco carry, as well as a solid week from Das, Strats collectively lost 38.4 pounds this week.
Damn.
So that is one of our better weeks. And it's especially impressive given that we have less people this quarter. So
And a couple of us screwed it up right out the gate.
yeah. I apologies if you're not on there. I did some culling of the people based on people who didn't submit their final weight and people that missed like 5 or 6 submit weeks last quarter.
Ew.
So if you want to be back on, let me know, but please submit your weight. It's not hard, guys. You step on a scale and you type in a number.
Yeah.
That's all you gotta do.
Do it when you wake up on Saturday. Step on a scale, type in the number. You will probably wake up before 7 p.m. Eastern time, which is Bradom's cutoff time.
Yeah. I hope so. Most Fridays,
disrespect the third
post,
shift.
Yeah, most Fridays I post a reminder, and then I will post again on Saturday. But even if you're not seeing that, it's the same weigh-in link every single week, and it's in the pinned message in the channel. So if you're really eager and my message hasn't come out and you're up at 6 a.m. on Saturday morning and you want to submit, just look at the pinned message. You got the link right there. Or even better, bookmark the link and get in there. So that's loser of the week, Q2, off to a good start. I think I'm very interested to see how this plays out. I think that I don't think Auth is going to be able to replicate what he did last quarter. I don't think any sane human would be able to. But it's just a question of, I think Auth's big challenge for the rest of the year is to keep the gains he already got.
Yep, and as I continue to adjust, lifestyle, and actually, I do want to go down a bit more. I truly didn't think I would be able to go down what I thought it would take me longer than it did to go down what I've gone down. So I actually have a secondary, more ambitious goal that I'm going to try and hit before year's end. It represents less weight loss than I've already done in Q1. So I've given myself 3 quarters to lose less than I've already lost.
Is it muscle mass? Like you want to be built like The Rock or something?
No. I have no aspirations like that, but I do want to try and lose a bit more. I do have a personal goal that I'm going to attempt to hit, but as I was, despite treating this week kind of like a cheat week, I had more cheat meals than I typically ever would. I was also much more active this week. So I'm looking to balance, trying to lose some weight, but also I'm trying to just generally be healthier. And as I put some muscle mass back on, I'm not trying to be huge and ripped. That's not the life I'm trying to live. But as I do build some muscle mass back from a largely lethargic lifestyle, especially since the pandemic, I suspect that I'm going to have a lot of fluctuation in weight up and down as I'm losing fat but gaining muscle back. So we'll see if it's possible. I've given myself 3 quarters. I think I can do it by year's end.
Yeah, and I don't know about others, but for those of you like me who live up in the cold north, I do think Q2 is going to be a lot easier. Where it's like when it's cold outside, it's really difficult to motivate yourself to do anything active. Really, all you can do is work out inside. So I'm hoping at least that being able to go out and go on hikes and walk around the city and do photography and stuff like that is gonna help out. So I find it much easier to get that exercise when you're doing some kind of activity rather than just stationary on a bike or a stationary bike, obviously, or an elliptical or a treadmill or something like that.
Yeah, and Precious brings up a good point in the Twitch chat. The point is we're just trying to be healthier and support each other in that effort. We've found a way to gamify it and make it a bit of a competition, and we're going to throw some money to charity to further incentivize that healthy pivot. But the end goal is really just for us to be healthier, just better ourselves through whatever means of bribery and manipulation is necessary. Always remember, Mike is watching. He's always watching.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, that's what's going on with Biggest Loser, and really that's kind of what's just going on in Strats. I think we covered it all. That'll do her.
Right at time, too.
Right at time. Thanks for everybody who came out tonight. If you watch this after the fact or you listen on one of the podcast things, we appreciate you. We'll see you next week. Take it easy, y'all.
Peace.